Come with me on a girls trip to Washington, D.C. So the trip had a rough start from the beginning because not only did our flight get delayed for 2 hours, but when we finally arrived and got to our hotel, they told us that the AC was not working. And let me tell you, the day we arrived to DC was disgustingly hot. Most of us live in Florida, so we expected to get a break from the summer heat by going more north, but Washington, DC's weather was also disgustingly hot and humid. So we were not thrilled by the news that the AC wasn't working, but they told us it'd be fixed by that night, so we dropped our luggage off at the hotel and went to explore. Our first stop was going to be the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, but there was a bit of a mix-up with the Uber, so we got dropped off at the National Museum of American History instead. Our plan was to just go over to the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History after we finished up here, but we had the hours wrong, and when we showed up to the other museum, they were locking the doors and telling us they were closed, so that idea went out the window. Then we went out for drinks and dinner at Urban Roast. This is a place I'd been to once before a few years ago, and I knew the girls would love it. For a drink, I got the Island Glow, and I also tried short rib for the first time, and I don't know if it was just like the sauce or what, but it was not for me. Like, I'm a picky eater, so I don't think it was the restaurant. I think it was just my weak ass palate could not handle it, but I was like, ooh, I do not like this. I ate it because I was hungry, but I don't plan to get it again. At least now I know I don't like it. Anyways, after dinner, we walked over to Old Ebbitt Grill and finished the night there with another cocktail. Now, the next day was all about museums, and we went to the Library of Congress first, which this building was so pretty. Then we went to the Holocaust Museum, which is a place I really wanted to go, and of course, it was devastating, but it's so worth it to check it out. And then finally, we got redemption with the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, and finally got to see the Hope Diamond. This thing is beautiful, and I wanted to see it because I heard about the supposed curse that it has, and I pretty much spent all my time in the gem section, honestly. I was so distracted by all the shiny things that I just spent like an hour looking through there at all the pretty jewelry. Now for dinner, we went to the Hamilton, and I completely forgot to film any of our food while we were there. Oops. But afterwards, we went to the Alchemist, which is a place I had seen on TikTok. I got the Captain Sparrow because your girl is a massive Pirates of the Caribbean fan, and it was delicious. Out of all the cocktails I got in DC, that was probably my favorite. Now, when we got back to the hotel, the funniest thing of the entire trip happened. So my friend Caitlin had drank a lot that night, and somehow when she was going to brush her teeth, she grabbed a tube of tretinoin and brushed her teeth with it. I was like nearly in tears. I was laughing so hard. And so then she started puking, and I am a sympathy puker. If somebody else pukes, I'm gonna puke. So I had to cover my nose so I wouldn't smell it and start vomiting myself. Oh, but she was in there for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes just puking her guts out. It was so funny. But after like her third puking session, she was good. She made sure to triple check the toothpaste for the rest of the trip. So the next day we went to Alexandria and walked around and looked at all the scenery. And this is where I got my DC magnet. If you've seen any of my travel videos before, you know I always get a magnet, and this is the one I got. I actually lost it at one point. I put all of my stuff down while I was taking this picture, and ironically, this is the gift shop I bought the magnet at, and I guess it fell on the ground when I went to pick everything back up, and I did not notice until hours later. Like, we were about to leave, and I looked down and I was like, wait, where's my magnet? So I ran back, and luckily it was still right on the ground, right where I left it, so I didn't have to buy another. I'm shocked it was still there, but it was in a paper bag, so I think people probably just thought it was trash and just left it alone. So after I found my magnet, we went back to the hotel and got ready for dinner. I didn't take any video of the place that we went, but it was this Italian place, and I just have to shout this place out because the owner was so nice, and we all really enjoyed the food, so I would definitely recommend it for sure. So the next day was our most jam-packed day. We started off with brunch at the residence, which I was the one who wanted to go here, and I did not realize it was outdoors. Luckily, we went first thing in the morning before it got too hot, but I was like, oopsie, sorry guys, this is kind of hot. Afterwards, we had tickets for Ford's Theater, but we finished our brunch a little earlier than expected, so we hopped into the National Portrait Museum for a bit to waste time. And I had to get a picture with Miss Jean Harlow, of course. I have no idea if I'm related to her or not. I kind of doubt it, but I had to take a picture anyways. Then we went to look at all the presidents' portraits before heading over to Ford's Theater. And Ford's Theater was probably my favorite thing we did on the entire trip. It was just really cool to visit. And we also got to check out the house that Lincoln died in, which is right across the street. And there was a lot I did not know about Lincoln's assassination. So it was just kind of cool to see everything, to see where it happened, and see how he died. I just thought it was a cool experience. And then next on our agenda was to go to the National Archives Museum. And you better believe I kept pretending I was Benjamin Gates in National Treasure the whole time.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
But unlike Benny Boy, I did not walk out with a declaration. reservation. So after this, we went over to our dinner reservation at Founding Farmers, and I would say food-wise, this was my favorite restaurant we ate at. All I got was a burger, but I've been craving that burger ever since I left. It was so good. Now after dinner, we hopped onto a bus tour that was going to take us to see all the monuments. It was a 3-hour tour that went past sunset, so we got to see some of the monuments at night, which was really cool. I do wish we had had more time to walk around at each location, but there were a lot of monuments to fit in, so you only got about 5 or 10 minutes before you moved on to the next, but it was still fun. Then the next day, it was time to fly back to Florida, and I somehow stumbled across the grand opening of this gift shop. Like, how random, but I've always wanted to cut one of those giant ribbons with the giant scissors, so I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit jealous watching it in person. But anyways, we got on our plane and went back home to Florida, and that was our girls trip.